Hey guys, let's discuss a new round from Google interview loop, which is round 8, and it is debugging and production round. Okay, so the scenario is given to you is Google search latency increases from 120 millisecond to 950 millisecond. So what is the how you will find the root cause, okay, and how will you handle the situation, how will you resolve it, or so see, we will see here three roles: L4, L5 and L6. Okay, answer based on each role. Okay, expectation differ by levels. So let's say L4 will say in this scenario that I would first verify that the latency increase is real by checking monitoring, dashboard and logs. Okay, so dashboard and log he will check and he will confirm that it is real. Okay, and not the false alarm. Then I would look for recent code deployment. That is very first thing, right? If everything was working fine and you have just did a recent deployment, then definitely the problem is in deployment. Otherwise, he will check error rates, okay, then CPU and memory usage, after that database and latency, network latency, to narrow down the root cause. So what all things he has checked? First, code, okay. Second, error rate, means dashboard he will be checking, dashboard and logs. Then CPU, after that memory, okay, then database and then network. So I would collect relevant data, communicate to my findings to the team, and work with the senior engineer to implement and validate a fix. Now, what L5 will say in this scenario? My first priority is to confirm the issue using dashboard and identify whether the latency increases is localized or system-wide. Okay, so first he will check the whether it is correct or not, or the scope of the issue. Then I would check recent deployment, okay, infrastructure health, then dependency latency, and key application metrics before making any changes. Okay, so what all things he will be checking? Deployment is the very first stage. Okay, so deployment, then infrastructure health. On the dashboard he will check everything. Okay, CPU, memory and all those things. And then dependency latency means let's say you have a multiple microservices, and where it is causing the issue, that is the thing, right, in which service. And then key application metrics. Okay, L6 will say that I would establish incident bridge. Okay, he will establish incident bridge and then assign incident commander. Okay, compare current telemetry with historical baseline. What is telemetry? Telemetry is the automatic collection and transmission of data from a device, application or system to another location where it can be monitored, analyzed or stored. So let's say team member has given him the metrics and all, right? So he will the current telemetry he will compare with the historical baseline. Okay, and then isolate the bottleneck using distributed tracing, right, and then restore service quickly while minimizing customer impact. So this is what he will do. Now investigation flow, if you check for L6, so alert triggered. Okay, so he will verify the metrics. After that he will check the recent deployment and then infrastructure health and then application metrics. Okay, after that dependency, and then will find the root cause, and then he will mitigate. He will do the mitigation, means let's say he will roll back the deployment so that at least the customer will able to access the application. Okay, and then he will do the permanent fix and then will deploy again. Okay, now let's talk about some follow-up questions here. We will be seeing only 5-10 follow-up questions. Okay, so what do you check first? So L4 will say that he will verify the so first few minutes, let's say. Okay, so he will first verify the alert is real or not, and then check latency dashboard, check error logs, and look for recent deployment and inform the team if issue persists. Now what L5 will say, first 5 minutes verify latency dashboard. Okay, everybody will see the dashboard, then check error rate, check traffic spikes, okay, whether the lot of traffic was there, or review recent deployments and verify alert. Now what L6 prioritize? So he will prioritize customer impact first. Okay, so roll back the deployment or something, that kind of thing he will do, and service availability, rollback possibility, dependency failure, and cross region comparison. So he will check that if the application is deployed to multi-region, other region is working fine or not. Okay, so the deployment happened in one region only and that service is down, then definitely he will compare it and then will find the root cause. Okay, now follow-up question 2 is related to CPU, memory or network. Okay, which one you will check? Actually they will check all three, right? So check basic infrastructure metrics, so this CPU utilization, and then memory usage, and then network latency. So all these things will come into the infrastructure metrics. Identify which resource is unusual high before investigating further. Then L5 will say that he will check all three again: CPU utilization, memory usage, and network latency. Then L6 will say that he will determine the bottleneck. Okay, so see, if the high CPU is there, so he can conclude that it is a coding issue. If high memory is there, then definitely there are some memory leaks, okay, in the application. And if high network, then in that case dependency or infrastructure issue. Okay, dependency is taking more time. So correlate resource usage with latency. Okay, follow-up question 3 is cache hit ratio. Okay, suddenly cache hit ratio has increased. Then in that case, it means that cache eviction policy or invalidation, somewhere it is not correct, right? So the request is hitting database. So check whether cache hit ratio has dropped. A low cache hit ratio increases database request and response latency, right? A lower cache hit ratio increases backend request and latency. Now what L6 will investigate for this, he will check first cache eviction policies, okay? Then he will check cache invalidation bugs. Then cache cluster failure. Cache would be in a cluster, right? So if cluster failure, there is any cluster failure or cold cache after deployment, okay? Now follow-up question 4 is related to database latency. So let's say database side it is taking more time. So in that case, what you will do, so L4 will see that he will check the slow query, okay, which query is taking more time, and database response time, after that connection pool usage, okay. L5 will check slow query, connection pool, and then read write latency. L6 will check query execution plan. Okay, so you define one query execution plan, that when you write select star from this table, so whether it will be a table scan or the index scan or different types of scan. Okay, so you will check that query execution plan. Then lock retention, any locks are getting content or not. Okay, lock contention, sorry. And then read replica health and storage IOPS. Now what is the storage IOPS? IOPS is input output operation per second. Okay, so it measures how many individual read write operation storage system can handle in 1 second. And then replication lag, you're replicating the data, so if it is taking more time there, then also the response will be the latency will be high, right? Now follow-up question 5 is related to thread dump. After thread dump, we will see heap dump also. Okay, so thread dump, so L4 L5 will say that they will capture thread dump to check for blocked threads, deadlock, and long running request, right? Then L6 will say that he will look for thread pool exhaustion first of all, okay, then lock contention, waiting on external service, and queue saturation. Now as I told you, we will see heap dump also. So L4 L5 will check in heap dump if memory, see, heap is related to memory, okay, and thread dump is related to threads. So of course deadlock will come there, right, and blocked thread will come there, and in heap dump memory issue will be there. So if memory keeps increasing, capture a heap dump to help identify possible memory leaks. L6 will say that he will analyze memory leaks, large object retention, excessive cache, and unreleased references. Okay, so large object retention means it is not deleting from cache, it is cache is retaining those large objects. That's why you're not having that much memory. Okay, it is capturing most of the memory, and then excessive cache, so you are storing everything in a cache which is not required also, or you're not invalidating it correct time, right? The TTL you have not set, let's say. So all those things. Now follow-up question 7 is related to garbage collection. So L4 and L5 will check garbage collection frequency, how frequently your system is collecting the garbage, and then garbage collection pause time. Okay, so frequent or long GC pause can increase request latency. Okay, so that also we need to take care. And so L6 will identify full garbage collection spikes first of all, then heap sizing issue, okay, allocation rate, and GC algorithm effectiveness. So long GC pauses directly increase request latency. Now follow-up question 8 is related to distributed tracing. Okay, so you have multiple microservices, your transaction is going through different microservices. Okay, so where is the problem? To capture that, you will trace that request, let's say. Okay, so you will have a trace ID, span ID, request ID, span ID. Okay, so using that you can find where the problem is actually. So use distributed tracing to identify which service is causing high latency. Okay, follow-up question 9 is service dependency analysis. So check whether downstream services are slow or timing out or returning errors. Okay, let's say your service is working fine, but the service they are calling, okay, downstream system, they're taking more time. So you will check there that why it is taking more time. So L5 will say that identify whether downstream services are slow or unavailable, same thing. And L6 will analyze RPC, latency, request per RPC is something like that. I don't remember what is RPC. Request per cycle or something, right? Or then timeout rate. Okay, and retry storms. So retry storms means, let's say the data is not there in cache, so all the requests at same time will hit database. Okay, so this one, or let's say not in cache, actually retry we do when the service is failing. So if the service is failing, you are again retrying it. Okay, so lots of request is accessing that service and that service is failing, so lots of requests again and again retry that service can make the system slow down or shut down. So that is called this retry storms. Okay, then cascading failure. If one service is failing, then the dependent service will also fail, so that is the cascading effect. And then dependency health. Now follow-up question 10 is rollback strategy. Okay, how you will roll back if something happen. So L4, L5 will say that if a recent deployment is suspected, notify the team and assist with validating a rollback. Okay, and then L6 will say use a staged rollback. So means rollback the affected service. Okay, verify recovery and continue monitoring before resuming deployment. So that's it. Thank you.